Before we begin today's video about the Manji symbol in Japan, I just want to thank Amino for sponsoring today's episode. Amino is a mobile app that has millions of different communities for virtually every type of interest on the planet. The one I want to talk about today is the Japanese School Amino, which is an awesome community that's based around helping each other learn and improve their Japanese. Immersing yourself in the language and talking with others is very important when trying to learn a new language, and that's one of the things that makes the Japanese School Amino so special. Here you'll be able to talk with like-minded people in the discussion threads and chat rooms and get inspired and make friends. Another cool thing is that the community has a range of classes that you can join to help you learn even quicker. It's free, takes seconds to join, and with help from Amino, I'm also able to offer a fun competition for everybody who joins. What you have to do is find Censored Gaming's thread and reply in the comments letting me know your top 5 favorite things about Japan. 2 winners will be picked at random, and the prize is a $50 code for either the PlayStation or Nintendo store. So please go check out the link in the description if you're interested, and hopefully I'll see you guys there soon. As we've covered in past videos, the swastika has had a troubled past in the world of video games. In particular, it is removed from German releases of games due to a certain German law, and sometimes across all regions entirely. However, did you know that the symbol has been removed from many other games completely unrelated to World War II as well? For example, in the original Japanese version of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, Goemon's chain pipe attaches to blocks with this swastika-like emblem. But upon the game's release in North America and Europe, these blocks were changed to feature stars instead. Another example can be seen in the NES puzzler known as Fire and Ice in North America and Solomon's Key 2 in Europe, where round 4-3's puzzle layout was altered from the original Japanese versions to look less like a swastika. The international versions of Kid Dracula on the Game Boy similarly removed the swastika-like symbols from the foreheads of the ghost bosses from the first stage too. More recently, fans discovered the existence of swastika-like symbols in a stage of Sonic Unleashed, which even existed in the international releases of the game. This didn't last long though, as Sega quickly patched the symbol out, turning them into squares. This phenomenon isn't exclusive to video games either. For instance, the flag of the Whitebeard Pirates in the One Piece manga originally featured a skull backed by a swastika-like symbol. In spite of this, later chapters of the manga, as well as the anime adaptation, replaced this symbol with a cross instead. At this point, some may begin to wonder why this symbol keeps appearing in Japanese media so much. Well, just as gestures can have widely different meanings across the world, so too can symbols. While many Westerners today associate the swastika with the Nazi Party, fascism, anti-Semitism, or hate, its history actually dates back thousands of years throughout many different cultures across the globe. In fact, the first recorded swastika in human history was found on a small ivory figurine of a female bird excavated from a Paleolithic settlement in Ukraine. The BBC reports on the torso of the bird is engraved an intricate meander pattern of joined up swastikas. It's the oldest identified swastika pattern in the world and has been radiocarbon dated to an astonishing 15,000 years ago. The bird was found with a number of phallic objects, which supports the idea that the swastika pattern was used as a fertility symbol. In Japan in particular though, the swastika is known as the Manji and is largely connected with the symbol's sacred Buddhist history. According to religionfacts.com, the Buddhist swastika signifies auspiciousness and good fortune, as well as the Buddha's footprints and the Buddha's heart. The swastika is said to contain the whole mind of the Buddha and can often be found imprinted on the chest, feet, or palms of Buddha images. It is also the first of the 65 auspicious symbols on the footprint of the Buddha. The swastika has also often been used to mark the beginning of Buddhist text. In China and Japan, the Buddhist swastika was seen as a symbol of plurality, eternity, abundance, prosperity, and long life. Furthermore, there actually exist 2 types of Manji in Japan. The left-facing Manji represents love and mercy, while the right-facing Manji represents strength and intelligence. Today in Japan, the Manji is most commonly used as a map marker for Buddhist temples, as seen on this map of Kyoto here, as well as the signposts. In some cases, such as Tokyo's Sensoji temple, Manjis can even be seen emblazoned onto the temple itself too. More recently, the Manji has even become something of a slang among Japanese teenagers. In fact, it was reported that in 2016, Manji was voted the #1 buzzword among Japanese schoolgirls. The Manji slang meaning can widely vary between references to mischievousness, naughtiness, swastikas as a pun on the Japanese word Manji, meaning seriously or really, a word to say while taking photos, much like saying cheese, and more. While this may seem peculiar to some viewers, it's interesting to note that swastikas were once widely popular over in the West as well. In the 1870s, German archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann skyrocketed to international fame when he discovered and excavated the site of ancient Troy, which had largely been considered a myth up until that point. However, that wasn't all that he found, as he also uncovered at least 1800 variations of swastikas laid into sculptures, potteries, and more throughout his excavations. Schliemann's experiences with this symbol wouldn't end with Troy either, as he would go on to encounter more swastikas elsewhere, including Tibet, Paraguay, and the Gold Coast of Africa. As Schliemann's exploits grew more and more famous, so too did the swastika, ultimately becoming known as a symbol of good fortune in the Western world throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Graphic design writer, lecturer, and author of the swastika, Symbol Beyond Redemption, Stephen Heller, commented, "Coca-Cola used the swastika, Carlsberg used it on their beer bottles, the Boy Scouts adopted it, and the Girls Club of America called their magazine swastika. They would even send out swastika badges to their young readers as a prize for selling copies of the magazine." In addition, it served as the emblems of both the famous English author Rudyard Kipling, best known for the Jungle Book, as well as the British National War Savings Committee during World War I. It was even used as the insignia of various military units such as the United States 45th Infantry Division up until 1939, and it became an enormously popular pattern in architectural design of the time, as can be seen on over 900 lampposts spread throughout Glendale, California to this very day. Nevertheless, the swastika would be forever changed in the Western world as it became entangled into Nazism. Anthropologist Gwendolyn Like explained, "When Heinrich Schliemann discovered swastika-like decorations on pottery fragments in all archaeological levels at Troy, it was seen as evidence for a racial continuity and proof that the inhabitants of the site had been Aryan all along. It allowed the projection of nationalistic feelings and associations onto a universal symbol, which hence served as a distinguishing boundary marker between non-Aryan, or rather non-German, and German identity. This led to the Nazi Party formally adopting their own version of the swastika as their symbol in 1920. This continues to plague the swastika nearly a century later, with the symbol still struggling to rid itself of its Nazi connection to this very day. This can be seen most evidently through the Geospatial Information Authority of Japan's aims to remove the Manji temple markers from tourist maps to avoid potentially offending visiting Westerners leading up to the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. However, these plans have stirred controversy among Japanese citizens, as can be seen on this popular tweet, which was translated by the BBC, stating, "It said some would mistake the Manji for the Nazi symbol, but Buddhism has a much longer history with this symbol, so I strongly oppose changing our maps for some foreigners who are ignorant and extremely stupid. The idea is foolish." The GSI's executive officer for national mapping, though, hopes that this change will be helpful to foreign visitors. Still, he acknowledges the controversy, saying, "Japanese users are divided in their opinions on the new symbols. Some say we should change symbols for Japanese language maps at this opportunity, while others say the traditional symbols should stay. What do you think? Should Manjis be removed from Japanese tourist maps to avoid any miscommunication, or should they be retained to help illustrate these symbols' different meanings in other parts of the world? And what do you think about the practice of removing Manjis from Japanese video games as well? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing if videos on regional and cultural differences like this are something that you are interested in. Until next time, thank you for watching.